Alrighty, this is Show and Tell every single week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Lady Ada is sick, so I will be doing more of the talking this week.
What is this?
I'm actually a puppet. Her hand is inside me. We're going to do the Show and Tell. Lady Ada is here in mind, body, and spirit, but just a little under the weather. So we're going to start off with Scott. Scott, what you got going on this week?
Hey, Lamore, I hope you feel better. I can relate to being sick, especially with a little one in the house.
Everybody's, like the entire country has COVID again, by the way. Watch out, everybody.
I had it at the start of July, so I'm hoping I'm good for a little while.
Yeah. What you got?
Yeah, so Lamore asked me, hey, these look pretty neat, these Cynthions. Do you want to pick one up? And I was like, yeah, actually, I got one already. This is a USB sniffer, they would call it a USB multi-tool, but basically it's got two USB ports. The target A goes to the device like the keyboard, and then this target C here can go to CircuitPython powered USB host, for example. Which I was updating the library, and I was like, hey, let me take this as a chance to just see how well the Cynthion stuff works, because I'm always looking for a new USB tool.
Yes.
This can support high-speed USB, which is exciting.
Yay!
Whereas the less expensive Beagles only do full speed.
What can people do? Because this is one of the questions, because we're doing this new part of Ask an Engineer where it's like, you can ask an engineer. So you like high-speed USB, but what are some of the things that people will know about it or could do that not high-speed? So why would you want high-speed USB?
So I think generally what high-speed is good for is bandwidth, right? So are you ingesting a lot of video or audio and you need to do that on a timely fashion? Or are you just trying to load giant files really quickly? We haven't really taken advantage of a high-speed in CircuitPython land, but it's something that I've always wanted to do. For example, pretending to be a webcam up the USB link. So
okay, cool. So it would be like a webcam. That's probably the top usage.
That
right?
would be good, and then it's really nice for if you're doing logic capture and stuff. You have a lot less need to buffer things on the device side if you can get it up the USB link quicker anyway.
Got it. A million years ago, we captured the packets from the Connect, so we could do the Connect bounty. You need something like that to capture all of that that's going back and forth.
Right. So if you show my window, I've got their program called Packetry, and this is all open source, which is awesome. So here you can see it's got start a frame groups, which is kind of not that interesting, but then it's doing analysis over the different types of requests. And this is actually just doing the CircuitPython demo where it just tells you what's plugged in. So you can see it's getting a string descriptor, and it's got this TE link value here. And then the second one says it's a wireless receiver. So it's the thing that's plugged in here. It's just like one of those generic 2.4 gigahertz dongles for keyboards. So it's generally it's how I test keyboards, because it's nice that it's not actually wired.
Yeah.
So this is a capture that I did using the Cynthion of that. And you can see it's just repeatedly getting the string descriptors. And then these interrupts here are the actual keys that I'm pressing.
Oh, nice.
It's not doing any sort of fancy parsing of that, but that's totally something that as we pick this up as a tool, unlike Beagle where it's kind of out of our hands, we can actually work on some open source software that does this for us instead.
Yeah.
I'm going to ask a question to you, Scott. Does high-speed USB help make file transfers faster in any way? Because we show up as a USB drive, does it do anything for that?
Yeah, it definitely will. You're probably going to hit the limits of what the flash can do before you hit the limits of what high-speed USB can do, especially if you're writing.
Okay.
Flash writes tend to be very slow, but for reading, yeah, I think, for example, if you use CircuitPython on the IMX RT series, we do high speed there, and it does feel snappier to me when I'm using those chips.
And reading in particular?
Reading in particular, because then you're not, the problem with erases is you start the erase and then you have to wait a while before you're able to write. But with reads, you don't have that.
Got it. So someone who had a device that supported high-speed USB, and maybe they turned it into a music player. Writing the files might be a little slower, but reading the files off might be a little bit speedier.
Yeah, I think so. Like
Okay.
reading's going to be quicker. Otherwise, you're probably bottlenecked on the flash side.
Okay.
For writing.
All right. Well, since you're working on this, where could people learn more about this later?
I don't actually know. It's called Cynthion.
Yeah.
I'll hold it up again. We do have it in the shop as a coming soon.
Yeah.
So folks can find it there as well. I don't know when we're going to get it. I did the crowd supply. That's how I got it early, is I think it was on crowd supply.
Yeah, we sold that already.
And it was
the
called
Great
Luna,
Scott,
I think it's
yeah, I know. The Great Scott, I like that name. The Great Scott Gadget folks are great. We were passing ships in the night though. There was someone in town and we weren't fully moved in yet, so I couldn't have them over. And I wanted to do something with interviewing them and having them on a show, but I think I'll be able to do that later.
Yeah, and I had a good experience. They do have a Discord server. That's like the first thing I look for now. I had this problem where it wasn't rendering quite right because I was using like a KDE GTK theme thing. And when I stopped using that, it looks much better.
Yeah.
So the folks on the Cynthion Discord, the Great Scott Gadgets Discord and the Cynthion channel were like super quick to help me out with that.
Yeah. I was talking to another company and they were saying they liked how Adafruit does stuff, which is the same as Great Scott. We've also like traded music files with them. It's like we're similar companies.
Yep.
Discord for rapid support for things and community base, and then forums, and then email for other stuff, and that tends to work out. Like you can actually get help. Okay, well, thanks, Scott.
Yeah. Yep. Thanks a lot.
Alrighty. Okay, next up, I missed Jeff. Jeff is back. Jeff went on a journey.
Hello. Yes, I did go on a journey. So you might have wondered where I was, and I spent about 4 weeks in Africa, specifically in Tanzania and Kenya. Mostly on a couple of safaris. So I've got some pictures here. I don't really have a talk or a spiel I've rehearsed, but look at these elephants. It was just really fun to see them live and kind of go to where they live and where they want to live instead of going to a zoo. And they just eat. They apparently spend 22 hours a day eating.
As one would if you're that big.
As one would.
Yeah.
But then there's other things like this is maybe a marabou stork. I don't know. I'm lousy at identifying things, but just
I like the little interface.
Look at that face.
It has a little map.
Mother would love that face.
It has a little map and it has information on the side. This is cool. What is this?
Yeah, this is just Google Photos, but if you save the location on your phone, and by the way, I'll drop a link to this album, so if anybody wants to view it, the link to the album will be in the Discord. I'll drop that right now.
Yeah.
Totally
this is the one time I'd actually want to see a location. It's like, where is that?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a feature that I turn off when I'm at home. I turn it on when I'm on vacation because it's really neat to know that stuff.
Yeah. These are really good. Oh, you got zebras.
Yeah. So you spend these are some folks that we traveled with, got to know them. You spend about 12 hours a day inside of this vehicle. They're like extended 4-row Toyota, what is it, Land Cruiser?
Yeah.
But you pop up the lid, and so you can stand up and look out and just kind of see everybody. We took a balloon ride, saw handicrafts. There's some significance to why they carve it this way, but don't make me tell you about it because I forget. But yeah, so it was just a really great time.
What are those little cats? Are those the desert cats? Can you scroll up? They're little cats. Oh man,
these cats were just some stray cats.
Regular cats. Okay, I was like, these are regular cats.
Those are just regular cats, but I love kitties, so I couldn't not take the picture. And the landscapes are just wild. Although this feels a lot like Nebraska. You've got the wide open space, you got some grass. You could put some cows on this and graze it. In fact, there are some more traditional people who that's what they do. They live out there and they graze their cows on this stuff.
Wow, what an adventure you went on.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but I'm happy to be back now and working on some CircuitPython stuff. Nothing is as showy as this was, but working on some bugs in CircuitPython.
Yeah,
I'm just happy to be hanging out with my friends again. This was a fun picture from the hot air balloon ride because you look down and you really see the paths that the animals are taking. that are kind of cut into the landscape.
Oh yeah, you could see where they go down to the water and drink and then come back.
There's like a wildebeest over there.
Yeah, there is maybe something down there. Yeah, there's a couple of wildebeest or water buffalo or something.
Jepler, the David Attenborough of open source.
This is mostly just with my telephone camera. Like this, well, this is a little Canon, like one of those little square guys with a good zoom on it. But yeah, it's amazing what a camera phone will do now. Well, that's another one.
This is cool.
We stayed in a tent, a very fancy tent, and like the giraffe were that close when we got up in the morning, so that was cool.
Saying it was
I was reading about zebras because I have a kid now, and I was just like,
zebras. That's key difference there.
Yeah, how come you can't ride zebras? Apparently, you just can't. You can never domesticate them. People have tried.
I don't know.
They're domesticated. Yeah, they don't have the right. They don't have the right group dynamic.
There's like an old timey guy who could do it once, and then he fell off, and he had to drink to do it. Like it was just never worked out.
Don't do it.
Huh.
These are great.
Yeah, so definitely recommend if you have the budget for it and can take a couple of weeks. This was really a great experience, and I guess I should say thank you for enabling me to do this by paying me to work on CircuitPython.
Well, here's what I was going to say at the end, and we don't talk about personal stuff really on show and tell, but I really admire that you're able to use your talents for open source. Everybody can share in your smarts and talent, and it allows you to have a lifestyle and work that you can do things like this and be gone for 4 weeks, work on this big open source project, and enjoy life. Like they're not making more experiences like this. This is one of the things that you can do on planet Earth. So good on you, Jeff. This is great.
Yeah. Y'all are so relaxed about letting me take the vacation and we make it work.
Well,
so I really
it's your time and your brain that we get all the benefits from you resetting and going to have fun. So this is great, and now everyone gets to enjoy all the CircuitPython stuff.
We also, I think we talked about this when you joined. You're like, "It's one of the things I want to do," and then COVID happened, and then you didn't.
Yeah, you said it's important that I travel.
But then you actually picked it up. You're like, "Okay, it's time to go," and then every year you take these long trips, and it seems like you've been having a lot of fun. And
this is cool.
You're really good at organizing the work and what you have to get done and communicating. And so, for people out there who are like, "How can I have a job where I write code?" and then get to take 4 weeks off.
I would even say you don't have to just find a startup or a closed source thing. You can actually find a good cause and a good business. It's possible, but yeah, it is possible.
I mean, you can always negotiate these things. You're not without power in your employment dynamic.
And if you're doing open source, like one of the neat things is like you always feel good about the work you're doing. You always feel good about the time you're taking off too. You're like, this is good. Okay. Well, thanks so much, Jeff.
Right. Well, I'll let you get on to some other folks, but I just wanted to share this because it was exciting and fun. And I'm energized. I'm ready to do stuff.
I got the preview. See you around. I got the preview in our Slack, but folks, check out the link that Jeff is posting up in.
Yep, that's on the Adafruit Discord in the live broadcast chat channel.
All righty.
Okay. I'll see you around.
All right, and what you got going on?
Well, I really wanted to show off old IBM ThinkPad, but I didn't quite have it ready. So right next to it was something that I still like, and I was looking up. Adafruit had featured a couple videos on this 12 years ago, but it's still relevant, and I'll show you how.
Was that me doing it?
No, it was Becky.
Okay. I was like, I don't know if I did this.
This is Raspberry Pi 5. You can pick them up in the shop. They're really nice. They're nice and fast, much faster than the original one. And this is the Motorola ATRIX lap dock. It was sold by Motorola to plug a phone in.
Oh, I remember this project. Yeah. Okay, I remember now.
Yeah, and but they weren't popular, and they went on wholesaler websites, and they were about $60. But you could use some adapters and plug it into a Pi. And originally it was the Pi 1, but again, they're basically the same USB and HDMI. And this is the Raspberry Pi OS in 2024, displaying very nicely. You have your mouse, display, keyboard, and there are some companies doing kind of the same thing. I'll list a couple here. There's PiDoc, CrowPi, PiTop. It's all the same kind of thing where it's kind of a laptop shell, and you're supposed to plug in your own computer with its video source and USB. They're not quite as inexpensive as the ATRIX. They're generally running $150 to $300.
Not too bad.
Not horrendous. But I mean, if you don't want to have to grab a monitor, grab a keyboard, grab a mouse, then something all-in-one like this is actually kind of handy, and it doesn't take up as much space. So I'd originally plugged this into my computer monitor and a keyboard precariously over here to the side, and this makes it nicer. So you can maybe find these on eBay or just use the concept. You can also kind of roll your own with your own laptop and VLC into things or something. So there's a lot of projects out there to do these kinds of things, and if it interests you, check it out. Yeah,
there's always this dream of like, I'm just going to pop my phone into like a laptop shell, and now I've got a full computer. And then I've lived through every iteration of these. I remember when Becky and I worked on that project like 12 years ago. And the closest thing now, because I had a Newton with a keyboard, the closest thing now is maybe people have iPads and they have the laptop shell for iPads, which essentially turns it into a laptop, but it's an iPad. But that limits you to just kind of Apple's ecosystem. Right. So this is a fun project for folks to use. It's hard to find some of the older shells where you can just plug in stuff, but it's possible. So check out our guide and more. All right. Thank you, man.
Sure.
All right, JP.
Howdy.
Going on?
Well, I've got a couple things I want to show. One, if you can share my little extra screen here, this long candy bar looking thing is the project I was working on right, I guess on CircuitPython Day. I showed the beginnings of this. So the reason it's shaped like that is it's one of our 2x10 swirly grids with a feather, a current sensor, and a USB power delivery dummy. And what I'm using this for is to be able to select the different voltages that you can get out of a power delivery charger. So right now it's telling me to replug in my USB-C. So that's the power delivery one that can give us multiple different voltages. And then plugged into it on the side, I've got, let me go to 9 volts. I've got a 12-volt neon LED strip, but it actually also runs on 9, as you can see here. And so I've got some buttons here that I built into the case that I can use on the feather. It's a reverse mount TFT feather, ESP32S2, and I can pick any of the voltages that are available on that brick, some of which I wouldn't want to use on this, so I don't commit those until we hit the top button. So I won't go to 20, but let's go to 12 volts, hit that, you'll see it gets quite a bit brighter. And I also have just an inline power switch. So this is useful for pretty much any USB, or rather any DC power things that you've got that want like 9 volts, 12 volts. You can see this one does 5, 15, 20. Some of those supplies will also do 18. So that's the project I've been working on. I just designed this case over the last couple of days, and I'm doing a learn guide on that. So it'll be something that people can build and use. I'm calling it the Power Deliverer. So that's
cool. So at the bottom of it, is that
it's our swirly grid? Yeah.
That's cool. So you cut it down to fit that shape?
This is one of our, I didn't even have to cut it down. This is
great.
a small one that we make. Yeah, I love this one.
Okay, great.
Like feather plus 2 things. This one's amazing. Or QT Py plus 3 things. It's really excellent for that. And then it just snaps into this case here, snaps into the plastic there. So it's just a single print. And then if we have time, I also wanted to share something. Yeah. You can go to just my full screen of me and say goodbye to the Power Deliverer.
Over.
So driving home the other day, and my Spidey senses are always tingling for CRT-shaped things.
As you can tell.
JP has 1 mutant power. It's not that useful, but it's yours.
It is. I see this CRT-shaped thing that's actually more suspiciously a terminal-shaped thing. Oh, you can see the top has come off. This is a DEC VT100, which is formerly property of USC, University of Southern California, but someone swiped it a long time ago, and now it's mine. So this needs just power, keyboard, and a whole bunch of restoration on my part because it currently doesn't do anything other than blow fuses. But this is the terminal. This is the first one that had the ANSI escape codes. So most terminals that were interfacing with mainframes and printers were based on this sort of standard going forward. And you'll even see VT100 emulation as a choice in most terminal software that you'll use today. So this is a real deal, and I'm hoping to restore this and publish some notes either on Playground or in a Learn Guide as I go. A secondary project for this, I can lift the shell off of there. See that there? There's the glorious insides.
Yeah.
Secondary project for that is going to be the keyboard, which it didn't come with. Keyboard for this was kind of its own oddball thing, and it uses a 1/4-inch stereo plug, just like a headphone jack, to connect to this. And there are my friend Brian Jepson, friend of Adafruit, Brian Jepson, pointed me at an Arduino project that someone put together that'll allow a modern USB keyboard to interface with that thing. So I may take a look at that and maybe run some of that by Jepler, who's the master of all keyboard things. And actually, Brian's also on the lookout for, he may have a spare keyboard for this so I can have kind of the authentic setup. So that's my weird retro thing that I'm up to. I'm very excited about it.
Cool, weird. That's some cool weird retro.
Yeah, JP Computer Museum.
I love that, like that rainbowy steel that they have.
Yeah.
Well, 70s, 80s. It's like it's like really thick,
distinct.
Yeah. Blast.
Yeah.
They didn't use aluminum. It was like a steel plate.
Yeah, I don't know much about that material, but it's really familiar. This one, if you can see in here, is where all the add-on cards could go. So I think this one just has the basic video card, but you could get an advanced one that was more characters wide and a printer card. Has RS-232 here. There's a video in and a video out. I don't know what it would do with video in. I don't know a heck of a lot about it. So there's a little short plug there. So that's my my fun weird project. Stay tuned, and we'll hopefully get it to do something other than burn out fuses.
Okay, great. Well, we're going to show the product pick of the week on Ask an Engineer, and then JP's workshop is coming up
tomorrow.
And yeah, and are you going to show some of this stuff off as you do it on your shows?
Yeah, I may dig into that a little bit, and I'll show the code behind this, some examples of what it does with under different situations, and I might show the 3D design for the case. I also, in the process of building this, I decided to make a little procedural swirly grid generator in Rhino, which is the CAD software I use. So now I have X and Y sliders I can do that'll make all the sizes that you could want. So you could 3D print them or laser cut them as well. It's just useful for me to make it to build to sort of the rest of the case around. So I'll show some of that fun stuff tomorrow.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much, JP, and good find.
Yes, lucky me. That was a cool one.
All right.
Lucky you.
Thanks for coming by, everybody. We do the show and tell every week, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Even when it's snowing or raining or Lady Ada is sick, we will still try to do something. So come by any week. You can show your retro stuff, your vacation photos, your retro hardware, you name it, you can show it. We'll see everybody on Ask an Engineer in a few minutes. Thanks for coming by, everybody.